This is the junior showmanship that we're going to go through with Jessica Bowman for the Spring Showdown virtual show number 2. I wanted to take a quick minute and run through the pattern before we start looking at video. This pattern is one that you really want to pay attention to your navigation, make sure you're spaced off your cones correctly or paying attention to your lines. We have a trot from A to B, so we want to make sure that we're far enough off of A and B to get that 180-degree turn in. And then trot around B, past the judge, stop. We have to back until our hip, that left back foot, is in line with the judge. Then when you make that pivot and complete it, you'll still be in line with that judge for your trot and then walk. If we undershoot that back up and we make that pivot, then we'll end up with a crooked line going to our judge. Okay. So our 6th place in this class is Lexina and Blew Me a Kiss. I like that she's on the correct side of her horse to start the pattern. Horse could be set up just a little bit better. Okay, takeoff. We're kind of pulling down on that chain a little bit if we just picked our hand up a little because this is a tall horse. He'd probably give us a little better trot off. A little bit of a step out on the pivot, so we do have a penalty 5 there. I like how soft this exhibitor is. She stands up in her trot. She has really good expression. She's in sync with her horse. Nice soft stop. She's taking her time in the backup, keeping the horse straight. Does a pretty good job hitting her line, but we do have the horse step out twice. A little better trot off here. Again, doing a pretty good job keeping the horse straight. So for this, I'd like to see a little more time put into that setup. It's really important in the showmanship that you have your horse set up really square. The basis of the showmanship class is to show that you can show your horse in the halter class. And in the halter, you need to have a horse set up really square so that they can be judged fairly and accurately. She had nice footwork in her crossovers. I really like the way she presents. A little bit of a step out there, just a little bit more work with this horse, and I think he's going to be a really good showmanship pair. Our 5th place was Sophia and Obvious Dreamer. Set up on the right side of the horse for the start of her pattern. Right here in the trot, this horse has a big trot, so I'd like to see this young lady kind of look up. She might have to take a longer stride to really stay with him and smooth that out. That's going to help her have a smoother stop because she's kind of having to pull him back a little bit. Okay. Be a little bit softer on the chain and our backup if we can. She's kind of standing still parallel to his body. We want to turn a little bit more, give a clearer cue to our horse. Okay. He does move his foot in the pivot, but she does a good job keeping him in the same spot. He doesn't really walk out of it. He just moves that foot around. Okay. Pretty straight line here. Same thing. Just look up, look where you're going. That's going to help you have a little smoother stop, show a little more confidence as you come up to that judge. She does a good job here. She's checking her horse out, then making eye contact with the judge. She has a pretty good setup. That was credit earning. I'd like to see her work on her footwork a little bit, make sure that we're taking 3 to 4 steps, preferably 4, making sure that you're always stepping with that foot that's closest to the horse first. She gives a nice nod at the completion. A little bit of a step out there and overturn, but a better turn. Overall, nice job. Okay, and our 4th place horse is Leah and Monty. She has this horse well set up at the beginning. She's very ready. She comes all the way around the side of her horse before the trot off. I would like to see her stand up and not lean into that trot off. Nice and straight. This horse is a little mouthy through this pattern, so that does hurt the amount of credit we can earn with certain things. but he's very responsive. He has a lot of potential in this class. A little bit of a slip in that pivot. Same thing with this trot here, still credit earning, but we would have more credit if we were able to stand up a little more, work on that horse being a little less lippy and mouthy. He does a really good job moving off her body. She keeps him very straight all the way through the pivot. I really like to see that. This was a credit earning pivot. Finishes it really straight. Nice walk transition. And again, here he pulls a little, gets a little playful in the lips. Something to work on. Okay, I'd like to see her just drop her elbows down to her sides a little bit. They get a little bit wide, but I like her footwork. She's smooth as she goes around the horse. Each step is the same distance. She's not taking one giant step, one big step, and two little steps. Everything's very even. The horse is pretty well set up, nice and straight in front of the judge. She watches that foot, makes sure it doesn't move, completes her turn, and walks straight off. Really nice job. Okay, and our third place is Adelaide and Patriot Knight. I really like this presentation at the beginning. Really nice trot off. I would just like to see this exhibitor kind of stand up, open her chest up, elbows back, and not lean quite so much into that turn or the trot off. Okay, pretty nice pivot. This horse leaves his shoulder behind just a little, so work on just making sure he keeps his spine straight and follows through that shoulder all the way around the pivot. Nice smooth trot here. Again, very consistent. Same thing as the first trot off. Just stand up a little bit more, pick our hands up, bend those elbows just a little bit. And then right here, because we have that low hand, the horse is curling under at that back up. If we were to lift that hand, push him straight in between his shoulders, he's going to give a smoother back up. Shouldn't drop his head so much, and you'll be more credit earning at that point. Finishes her turn really well. We drift off a little bit to the judge's right, but she does come back and get in line. Nice complete stop before she turns in for her setup. And same thing here, just elbows back a little bit more, kind of move up towards that horse a little bit. We could be a little better set up in the back, but we have a nice setup in the front legs. She's checking her horse every time she crosses over. I really like to see that. Again, preparing for a halter class, you want to make sure that you're paying attention. Your horse is always set up, and that is what this class is for. She waits to be excused before crossing over. Nice straight pivot for that horse, and nice straight walk off. Very nice job. Our second place horse is Adela and Suddenly Sassy. Nice presentation at the beginning. I like her trot off. Our left hand is just a little bit high. Okay. Really clean pivot. However, this horse is pivoting on the left hind foot. And while there won't be any penalty for pivoting on the left, the right foot is always preferred. So pivoting on the left, you will not earn credit in your pivot. If you can get that horse to start pivoting on that right foot, you will start to earn more credit in those pivots and see your scores really go up from there. Same thing here, should a really nice trot around, nice straight back, another left foot pivot. Would like to see that horse switch over to the right foot for a pattern. Drifts a little bit to the right here, but comes right back. Smooth transition. Okay. Shows that judge that she's ready. Little high in the hand here. Nice straight pivot again, just on that left foot. Would love to see that horse switch over to that right foot. Really nice pattern. Okay, and then our first place is Adela. Really nice trot off, nice and straight, good body position. Horse's body stays really straight through that pivot, has a little bit of speed to it, a little higher degree of difficulty, pivoting on that right foot. Nice trot around. She's right by that horse's throat latch. I really like that. Here, our hands got a little bit low, but only maybe by a couple inches. Nice stop. That horse squared up right into the stop. Very credit earning. Same thing with this pivot here. Really straight in the body. The only thing I would have is let that left front foot close before you turn around for the trot off. And then right here, smooth transition, but we are kind of pulling that horse off to the left. And then I do want to point out halter fit a little bit. That halter's a little bit long in the face on this horse. We want to tighten that up because that will affect how your horse responds to your chain and stuff in showmanship. And is part of showing your horse at halter is having a well-fitting halter. Really nice setup. She's doing really well in her inspection. She never changes her position. And that tells me she never falls out of position. If there's a big exaggeration when an exhibitor is crossing back and forth, that all that's really telling me is that they've fallen out of position, which would not be credit earning. Okay, lifting the head up a little bit there for that pivot, but overall really nice, has a really nice straight walk away. Overall, really nice pattern.